Maudie. Shall we begin? We shall not waste any more time.
Vernier Scalloper.
I'm very happy to announce that I might have my first favorite film. Out of all the ones that I've watched so far, I might have my favorite, and it is the one that we will be discussing today. And it is none other than Brave. I know, maybe this is a little bit of an unorthodox favorite of mine, but I really do like this, and I will explain. Something that I realized in my previous videos is that I always say, don't trust me to recap the entire film, which is true. But what I end up doing is that I still recap a lot of the film, and it gets very tiring. Okay, I am not a recapping film machine. I am not here to, like, that is not my job. Okay, it's not my job to recap the entire film. So what I want to try today is that I'll keep it simple. I will just talk about some points, some important points, kind of like my first video when I was talking about Monsters Inc. And I just went on about some pointers that I thought was very interesting to talk, rather than the entire film and everything and having to give context and context. Watch the film yourself, okay? Watch the film yourself, and if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know, then it's... Okay, first point. Arranged marriage. You know how I feel about it, and if you really want to know how I feel about it, you can watch the previous videos, and you might want to watch the one about Encanto. You can even watch the one about Raya and the Last Dragon and the Gems. But yes, I have made it very clear about my stand on arranged marriage and this whole "it is your destiny" type of situational. Okay, I've already made it very clear. But if you really need that information condensed into 2 words, I can tell you now. Hate it. Okay? I hate it. Now, point number 2, more do. This bear that everybody is demonizing. Like, what is it all about? Okay, what is it all about? It is just a wild animal. Like, why? It's not like the bear is running into your village and killing your people and raping the women, you know. That is not what's happening. The bear is probably in the wilderness, minding its own business, and you just come in and then it thinks you are intruding. You're intruding in space because humans. And so it attacks. And suddenly you think it is a villain, when in fact you are the villain, you are the intruder. Yes, what is Mordu supposed to represent? You know, what is it about Mordu? Are we going to get a Mordu redemption arc? Are we going to get a Mordu enemies to lovers arc? You know, anything could happen. We already have furry dragons and the gems. So you know, somebody should probably make a video about how Mordu is very, very much misunderstood. Somebody who really loves animals, really loves bears. Not me, because it's not my job to tell you why Mordu is nice. Okay, he's not, we're gendering him now? Just gender it again. But before we get into the point about Queen Mother, you know, we need to talk about father. We need to talk about fathers. We need to talk about the father. Father is really useless. Like, he's quite endearing, I would say, still, but he is very useless. Like, the men in this film are very useless, which is fine. They are kind of like side characters in this film. I think it would be a bit mean to say that he is uneducated or like a brute, but he is kind of a brute, and he is incapable of forming sentences, or rather he's or more specifically, he's incapable of forming sentences when in dire situations, in serious situations, when you need to form a sentence. Okay, you need to tell your daughter why. You need to tell your daughter what she has to do or why the thing she's doing is wrong. And mother needs your help. Father is useless, and every time he opens his mouth to speak, it's Hindi. He's so useless, like he's And another thing is that the men in this film, they're always fighting, they're always screaming, they're always shouting, they're always eating. This is almost like a stereotype of what men were like in the past, or in whatever this age is, you know, whatever this time period this was set. I will admit, it is a very funny, yeah. Like they're always fighting and shouting and just being So let's talk about mother, okay? It's very important that we talk about mother. When mother threw the bow, Merida's bow, into the fire, I was like, bitch. We know that this film is a coming of age film. Okay, we know that. We are expecting some sort of teenage rebellion to happen. It is bound to happen. It is bound to happen. And when we had the fight, because you know,
This is not what I want. This is what she wants.
and then mother throws the bow into the fire out of rage, and that was the moment I knew we were going to get the classy. We're going to get the classy.
I hate you. I hate you. And I never want to see you again.
And the rooms are all on fire. You know, I'm very fortunate to say that I cannot relate to this situational where my mom took one of my most prized possessions and just threw them in the fire because she thinks that this is not the life I should live, and my passion and my hobby should just burn in the fire. I'm very lucky to not have that experience, but that must hurt. Like, that must hurt. And frankly, I do not know how I would react to that, or how I would even take such a hit from somebody who's supposed to love and support me to the very end, and throw my bow in the fire? Bitch. Dude, yo, she just threw her bow in the fire, man. The mother is annoying, but for Merida to go to the witch for help, okay, this is when we draw the line. Okay, this is when we draw the line. This is where we draw the line, okay? You don't go to a witch to put a hex on your mother. That's just crazy. Like, that is crazy. Well, that is a bit rash, and you totally fucked up with that, and you blame the witch for scamming you, when really it is your own fault. Like, you walked right into it. You walked right into the trap, and you follow the will-o-wisp because you think that it was taking you to the right place. Like, bitch, you're in the middle of the freaking night, and you're following a ghostly light, and you think that it is going to take you to the answer that will save your life, and Merida goes on to insult the witch, like, that googly old hag, eyes all over the place. Not her coming for the looks. Oh my god, like, you got scammed and now you're not Merida shaming the witch for her googly eyes. But maybe in this world that they live in, that is in fact a very smart businesswoman, you know what I am saying. And I also really like her little phone service, you know, when she disappears, but all that's left is the cauldron. And because Merida returns with her mom, and this is when the mom was already in the bear form, okay? Mom has already been transformed into a bear, and they return to the witch's hut, the witch's cavern. And she has this phone service, which is the cauldron, and there's a visual of her face, and she's like, I won't be around till spring. If you need this, press 1. If you need that, press 2. But instead of pressing 1 and 2 on the buttons of a telephone, because they don't have telephones, you would pour a certain potion into the cauldron, and that would be 1, or another different potion, and that would be 2. And that is so cool. I love that little thingamabob thing that she has with the cauldron. And as a viewer, you can see clearly what is happening here. Like there is nothing you can do. The witch is not physically there, okay? The witch she's gone. She already told you that she won't be around till spring, or never even, she's gone forever. So this really is just a message from her. I don't know why Merida decides to just start like adding all the potions in desperation and anger and frustration. It's just like 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2. What are you doing? Oh my god, why are you, why? Merida, you see, people are crazy, people are out of control, especially in times of desperation like this, and this is so rash, like, and on top of that, mom is already a bear just watching her daughter at the door, like, what the fuck are you doing with this boy? In the end, all the potions just make the cauldron explode, and Merida, you could have saved some face. Just take the message for what it is and leave. Like, you don't have to do the You may have noticed that I've been doing a lot of and it is because that is exactly what the mom is doing this whole time as a bear, because now that she's a bear, she can no longer speak human, she can no longer communicate with Merida like she used to. And so she resorts to a lot of like what? And this is one of the main contributing reasons as to why this is my favorite film. Okay, this film, I thought this film was going to be very serious and very like emotional, but I did not expect a vaudevillian like slapstick humor, physical humor, just a lot of like stupid, silly types of jokes and things like Merida, like how is Merida even understanding what her mom is saying half of the time? Like, what? Like what? Like what? Like how is she even? Like what is all that? What is that? What is like what? Like what? Perhaps Merida really knew how to sign with a bear. Perhaps she could sign with Maudie. But that is not the case, because we get the fight scene between Mommy and Maudie, and Maudie gets defeated later in the film, which I don't really care about because I think that is stupid. They just want to demonize a creature of nature and then try to say humans won, blah blah blah. I don't fucking care, so we're not gonna talk about that. And another endearing thing about Mother is that she tries to retain any last bit of humanity she has in her. So when they were hunting for fish and eating the fish, she tries to be a lady at first, but then she will like chow down on the fish. But when she's done, she would like, bitch, like you are a bear, just embrace the bear, just embrace the new bear lifestyle. Because who knows, you might be stuck as a bear forever. So you might as, I don't know why I always have this freaking strand of hair. Yes, embrace the bear lifestyle. Why not embrace the furry lifestyle? right? Stop trying to be posh. Like, there is nothing posh about being a bear. And besides, you are married to a bear. You are married to a bear. And I'm very sure the sex that you're having with father is nothing posh. It's everything but posh. So just embrace your life as a bear. But speaking of the dad, we have to talk about him meeting her when she's in her bear form for the very first time. When they were in the room, you know, he has no context of the entire situation as usual. He thinks that the bear has eaten his wife and now the bear is out to eat his daughter. So he goes full crazy rage mode, beast mode, trying to fight a freaking bear. Oh my god, it's like those alpha males or those stupid guys on TikTok who think they can fight a bear. But but the frustrating thing is that he's not listening to Merida half the time. She's trying to explain, she's trying to drill into his meathead that is mom, that is mother, but at the same time she's not very good at being concise in the moment. Like, Merida, you don't have a lot of time and your dad does not have a lot of like clear-headedness and sanity to really, you know, process the information that you have for him. You need to give it to him really concise, and she's not telling him what he needs to know. That is a baka, that is a ma. Like, she keeps saying stop killing it, but she's not saying that bear is like, okay, I know you can argue that he will not listen either ways because he's stupid, but she really isn't good at communication in this very moment. And I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And then you see, Dad is very bad at communication. He cannot form sentences, and Merida is bad at communicating in the heat of the moment, and Mom is not good at communicating to her daughter who wants to live her own life. You see, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. This family is a freaking mess. Like, nobody knows how to communicate, which is not surprising because at the start you have like that dining table scene where they're not even talking to each other. They're like, they cannot communicate for shit, which is funny for us, but it's not that funny for them. And we already know this because at the earlier part of the film, you see them sitting at the dining table, and from the dining table scene, you can see that there is no communication happening between this family. It's just like, it's just talking over each other. The thing about this scene when Dad is seeing Mom as a bear for the first time, Mom has this like beastly instinct to fight back. And now you have this really cursed Mom and Dad fighting scene where it's not your typical Mom and Dad fighting scene. It's Dad fighting a beast version of your mom. That something that you don't see every day. And I'm also thinking, what if Mom kills Dad by accident? That would be really... like, she didn't know her own strength and she killed him and he died. We have a spin-off where they just all killed each other by accident, you know? Or perhaps she's trying to tell Merida, and Merida kills the dad because she thinks that's what the mom is telling her, but she misinterpreted what she was actually saying. There should be a spin-off, okay? There should be a Brave 2 where it is Mom as a bear again. Or maybe we could have another bear character, okay? And then we can have Merida recurring with her sign language interpretation skills. But instead, in this second film, everything goes wrong. She interprets everything wrongly and things just go awry. And it's just chaos. I would love it so much. Okay, we have to give a shout out to that big booby lady. You know, that big booby servant that is in the castle with them. The one that's always dressed in white and she has the voluptuous breasts. She is always screaming, and that is so camp. That is so freaking funny that every scene, every bit of her screen time is devoted to screaming and fear and just mania. It is so good. Is she the MVP? Is she the real star of the film? Should we give her her own spin-off where she just screams and there's no real dialogue at all? Do you think she deserves that? Because I do. I really do like her. she's a fucking icon, okay? And it's not every day that you get a character that barely says anything, you know, barely says a real word, but yet so much impact. A lot of you can only dream of being this entertaining. Now the last thing that I want to talk about is when mom turns back into a human and she has an embrace with her daughter and followed by an embrace with her husband. And you know, at first it's very cute, it's like, oh, husband, wife. But then they have a really passionate embrace, if you know what I'm saying. They have a very like, they have a very, and Merida's reaction is priceless. She's like, See, this film is so good. Like, there are so many iconic lines, and a lot of these iconic lines are barely words. They're just sounds. They're just And it is also in this last scene that Merida realizes that mom is butt-ass naked. So mom kind of like, Mom tells Dad that I'm as naked as a baby. And Dad, being the pervert, is just and mom is like, don't just stare, do something. Trying to be modest, trying to be posh, but we know what they will be doing back at the castle. They gon' fuck. They gon' fuck. Yeah. They gon' fuck. They gon' fuck. So yes, it is official. Braids is my favorite film out of all the ones that I've watched so far. And it's not that the others aren't fucking good, or some of them are mid. Some of them are mid, but I like most of the films, but this is my favorite one. Maybe something else will come around and make me change my mind. But for now, thank you for watching. And please subscribe, please. I would really appreciate it. And